My name is Jacob Lothmer, and the purpose of this speech is so that the General Education Committee can see and hear of the progress I have made over the course of this past semester in my Fundamentals of Public Communication class, taught by Miss Melissa Reisman. Now, before this semester began, I had felt myself to be a confident and capable public speaker, and yet I knew there were aspects that I could improve upon. The biomedical sciences program at Snyder allowed me to constantly learn and adapt and improve upon my public speaking skills due to the tremendous amount of projects and presentations we had to give, over 24 in one school year, and that was for 4 different years. A few different points in my public speaking skills that I felt like I could improve upon would have been my flow, or my train of thought, as it were. It's sometimes my ideas, my thought process, or my logic became muddled, hard to understand, or all around just incomprehensible to a lot of people. So I really felt like in my outlines I would need to more clearly show how my speech would flow and how I got to the conclusions that I did. Other aspects were my posture and what I did physically during a speech. I sometimes blocked visual aids or sat down even a few times. Written-wise, my conclusions have not always been the best. They've either been too abrupt or they haven't even been summative of all. So I've told myself throughout the rest of the semester that I'm going to do that better. I have noted, however, over the course of the semester, I have improved almost all of these aspects. There was one time I only had ever a weak conclusion, and it was during my informative speech that I ended with, "Yeah, that's it. That's all I got," as my peer critic noted that time. My flow never once became muddled, however, over the course of this entire semester, which I was greatly pleased to see as I went over all my stuff. My posture and positioning, by slowly pacing and making visual content with my audience, allowed them to feel as if I directly am talking to them, and this was especially powerful during my persuasive speech. My strongest speaking skill for both before this class and throughout the semester has been my charisma, my inflection, and my clarity of speech. I've never been one to mutter or look down or look away from the audience during a speech. I love public speaking. It's something I really like to do. I like talking and giving my ideas out there. Now, visual presentation aids are a key item in any effective presentation, whether in photos to prove credibility on a subject or facts and statistics that allow the audience a greater insight into what you're giving if they have no previous knowledge of it. There are problems with it, though, with today's public speakers. Many speakers I've seen this year have relied too heavily on visual aids, centering their entire speech around one statistic and not even touching upon the main purpose of their speech. Others have done the complete opposite, and they've listed off too many facts, too many statistics, too many numbers all at once for us listeners to fully comprehend, and it's created just a muddle and an overall overwhelming sense of that the speaker knows a lot more than we ever will. I couldn't understand half of that because they were going so fast. Where do I go from here? In my informative speech about coffee, I used a website that had 3 basic statistics about how much coffee is drank by which age groups, which I centered it around the college level kid age group, and how much caffeine is in a typical cup of coffee. I also brought in order to properly show the class how to make a pot of coffee, I brought in my own coffee maker and supplies. I should have positioned myself better in that. That was what I was mentioning earlier. I did not bring in long enough extension cord, and so I had to kind of sidle around the table a bunch, and it blocked the view of a few people, as another peer critic noted during a different critique. I would have been better if I brought an extension cord. I definitely could have. In my persuasive speech over mass shootings, I used a website that showed the number of mass shootings per state per 5 million residents in 2017. This blew away the entire class, let me tell you, and had the desired effect of showing them just how much mass shootings affect us. And this is a problem that we have not talked about. But that's not the point of the speech. Visual aids weren't always necessary, like in my awards acceptance or nomination speech, or in my toast even. I feel like they're needed in very few, very select instances when it matters that you want to prove a credibility, prove a point, or show just how much something is happening. This semester, we focused on audience-centered speaking, and the textbook actually helped a lot with this, even though I didn't think it would. It has. It made me center my speeches more around my audience, how I can make speeches that would speak to them, would make them want to listen, would interest them. Not just as college-level kids, the informative coffee speech was but that one, but my persuasive speech over mass shootings, I appealed to their identities as Americans more than anything else, because this is an American problem that we can solve as Americans in this country. I listened effectively also throughout this entire semester. We focused on not only speaking, but as being a listener in a lecture and critique. And I'd never given any thought whatsoever to listening, like that there could be any aspects of listening I could improve upon. But after reading the textbook and actually taking the time to apply what it told us, I can understand a lot of the speeches a lot better than I would have. Like, if somebody came up with a politically driven speech, I would have shut them out if I didn't agree with it. But over the course of the semester, I've kind of shut away that internal noise and that bias before they've had a chance to speak. And in the end, if I didn't agree with it, that's okay. But I gave them the chance during their lecture, which is what I always expect my listeners to do also. These will serve me really well come the future. I'm going into nursing, so being able to listen clear and concisely, not only just to doctors, but to also patients without assuming what I think is right, will help me immensely in giving the best quality of care possible. When we worked in small groups, I did my best to be as helpful and as supportive of my classmates as possible, and their ideas while also seeking input and support of my own. In the elevator pitch speeches, I helped my two other partners immensely with grammar and how to make sure that their subjects are clear and concise. I did editing for a good hour on a lot of their pitches. I asked them both for input on my stuff too. I know I'm not perfect. I know I don't write perfect speeches most of the time, but their critique really helped me shape my elevator speech and get me the grade that I did. During my awards speech, I worked with my single partner to make sure both of our introductions and acceptance speeches were up to par and not conflicting with one another. We didn't want copies of the same speech for both of us. Team working skills are some of the most sought-after skills in the workplace today, and I feel like by continuing to work with others, by continuing to collaborate on work and projects and speeches, that I'm able to better myself for team working and team building in the future, so it's beneficial for everybody, and especially the individual. The result of this class has been to not only further my oratory and public speaking skills, but to also become a better listener and better team partner, so that I may further apply those in the future. Because I'm going to have plenty of presentations, plenty of speeches, and plenty of group projects over the next few years. And this class has only added to how well I can apply those. Thank you.